and welcome to the Two Brain Business YouTube channel. I am Jay Cohen, owner of Locomotion Fitness. I'm here to tell you how we apply Two Brain Business principles in the real world of gym ownership. Speaking of which, sorry if you hear that music in the background, we got a big class going on out there. Today is the first of two videos that I'm gonna do for you on hiring a big role in your gym externally. So this experience was new for me. Every big hire that I've had has been like a coach that I've schooled up and brought up into a management level role. And just recently I brought on a head of coach development, head coach, whatever you want to call it, right? The role that is responsible ultimately for coaches development and coaches evaluation and making sure that our product is absolutely amazing. And I pulled this person from another facility, and that was a whole new set of tasks, a whole new set of problems that I needed to work through and think about. And I thought it might be a useful exercise for all of you. So this first part is going to be thinking through what I needed this person to do or why I needed to make this hire in the first place, getting some clarity on that, and then figuring out how I could convey that to my new head coach so that I don't have to micromanage, right? The last thing that I want to do is have to be on top of an employee every single day telling them what they should be doing. My role is to make my vision clear. If I wanted to be doing that role, I would be doing it, right? That's why I'm hiring somebody. I'm hiring somebody to add leverage to myself. I'm hiring somebody because I believe that they're going to be better at doing that thing right now than I am. Not because I'm not good at it, but because I don't have the capacity given all the other things that I want to be working on. So a couple signals that made it really clear that I needed to make this hire. Number one was that I was feeling bogged down. I was feeling like I had too much on my plate. And the things that I couldn't get to weren't like just like small things, you know? It wasn't like I needed to get out there and mop the floor or clean the bathroom. These were like big projects that I saw driving my business forward, driving me forward, helping bring all my staff up and along with me. And I just didn't have the capacity to get to them. And it was becoming day after day after day. Oh, I'll get to this tomorrow. And I know that these projects are going to be massive revenue generators for us. And I just couldn't do them. So to hire somebody to take some stuff off my plate so that I could bet on myself to generate that revenue seemed like a good idea. However, that still wasn't enough for me. So in addition to that, my ops manager came to me and told me the same thing. He said, dude, Jay, I am feeling bogged down right now. I'm feeling like I'm having to deal too much in the business and these bigger picture projects. So he's responsible for retention. He's responsible for making sure that our systems and our procedures are rock solid. And he's like, man, I can't even get to this stuff because I'm having to put out fires every day. So that was strong signal number two that we needed to hire somebody. As soon as I heard that, I knew that it was time. You know, I was not sold when it was just me, but when I heard another staff member coming to the same problem, all right, now let's figure it out. Let's bet on ourselves. I know if I can hire somebody for, $5,000 a month, I can figure out how to make an extra $5,000 a month in revenue to pay that person. So we decided to make that call. Now, once I knew I was going to hire a head coach, the next step was figuring out exactly what I want that role to be responsible for. Not just, and not the nitty gritty, not like checklisty items, although that is something we're going to give to this person, but that comes down the line, right? That's something that my ops manager will handle and make sure that we have checklists set up so that all the tasks get accomplished. My job is to set the vision, the big picture. And so I needed to sit down and figure that out. And we have a couple tools available to us through Two Brain and some other tools that I found also through Two Brain, but that come from like Dan Sullivan with Strategic Coach. Specifically, the tool is an impact filter. And again, we also have a variant of that tool in our Two Brain growth and tinker roadmaps as well. But what this is a single sheet of paper. And I know you can't see anything that's on there. I'm going to work through it with you. but this lets me write down a very clear vision of what I want to achieve, and then also metrics that are going to tell me that that thing has been accomplished. And this is super important. And the goal here is I can hand this sheet of paper to my new head coach and I can say, okay, these are the things that I want done. This is why we're doing them. This is what happens if we get it done well. This is what happens if we don't make any progress here. So the first thing is the purpose of the project. What do you want to accomplish? What is your motivation? And I'm just going to give you a peek behind the curtain of what was going through my mind when I wrote this up. So a little backstory. We grew very quickly. We have grown very quickly. And one of the things that I identified as an issue is the quality of our service declining, meaning that our coaches weren't as technically sound as I wanted them to be. Our class structure wasn't as tight as I wanted it to be. The language that I use with my ops manager is I feel like we're a really nice like Chevy right now. I've got a nice Ram that I drive around. And what I want the gym to be is a brand new Tesla, right? And so that is what I saw in our coaching. It was good, but I want it to be freaking amazing. And so this person is responsible for creating a team, or what is my motivation? I want to create a team of motivated, educated, and compassionate coaches that everyone in Charleston recognizes as the best in town. That's the vision overall that I have set. Now, by having those amazing coaches, that means that we're going to have an amazing client experience where members can learn to believe in themselves, belong to our tribe, and be strong physically, mentally, and emotionally. So always tying it back into our overarching mission. We need to be very clear as visionaries, as entrepreneurs, how each piece ties back to the whole. That's your main job. Most other people don't have the same vision that you have as an entrepreneur. So we've got to make sure that they see the big picture. So that is the purpose. The next step is to think through the importance of this role. So what is the difference the role will make and what impact will it leave? In my mind, I think that coaches need to feel supported and they need to feel growth, because both of those things are going to lead to happiness at their job, which is going to lead to them delivering a killer service and them sticking around for a long time. If we have a killer service, they stick around for a long time, we're going to have a strong, resilient business. Better coaching truly changes the lives of our members and has real impact. And that is why it's important to have this head coach role. And I needed my head coach to know that. Ideal outcome. What does the completed project look like and what is the payoff? And this is where it's very important to get clear on goals, not metrics. Metrics, we're going to get to that on this sheet is called success criteria, but these are the goals of this. So for me, it was a fully systemized service delivery. And then in parentheses, I put franchise ready. So I don't have any intention of franchising my business, but that is how I want our systems to be. I want them to be so tight that they are turnkey. Anybody could walk in and run the show. And so I want to make sure our coaches know exactly how to operate a personal training session, a group class. Next up, we've got a staff development system in place. Right now, it's whenever we have time, whenever we feel like it. That's not good enough. We need to have a PT department set up and primed for growth. At my business, all of a sudden, personal training is larger than group classes. We've got a ton of systems and processes in place around group classes and not enough in personal training. So I identified that as a big area of opportunity and growth. Now, what is the payoff? Why is that ideal? And it's because having rock solid systems will provide more time to work the stuff that really matters. Coaches that feel cared for will in turn care for members, leading to growth in members, coaches, and in my gym as a whole. So that sort of spells out what the project is in a nutshell. The next step is to think through best result and worst result. And the idea here is I have to convince myself. So not only do I have to convince my coach, but if I don't believe, no way I'm going to be able to talk somebody else into believing. So what's possible if I do take action? The roles that my head coach are taking on are the final pieces I believe that are going to take my gym to $1 million in gross revenue. At that level, we'll be able to change the lives of our members and coaches in meaningful and lasting ways. And those changes will snowball, changing the landscape of health in Charleston. So that is my big, hairy, audacious why, right? My big driver, when this happens, this is very clearly what's going to show up and how I'm going to feel about it. Then worst result, even better, right? Do some fear setting. What happens if I don't do this thing? Without action, the quality of our service will continue to decline. Eventually, members will leave the gym and our opportunity to change their lives will walk out the door with them. Man, that is a strong why for me because I believe this is my life's work and my coaches believe it's their life's work. So now I've set up what happens if we do well, what happens if we do poorly. The last thing on the sheet is the success criteria. And these are the metrics. Cannot tell you enough how important this is. Just like when you goal set with clients, you need specific, measurable, relevant results, key performance indicators, if you will. So the success criteria I identified for my business was to get gross monthly revenue to a certain number by the end of next year. Next up is I wanted to get length of engagement, on average, how long a member is with us, to 20 months by the end of this next year. We're currently at 16. I want to get my average revenue per member, or ARM, to $215. We're currently at 200. I want to get my PT revenue to a certain target. A big one, I want to retain 90+% of my staff next year. By developing them, training them, putting money into them, they should stick around longer, which is going to be better for me because they know, like, and trust my business. They deliver service like I want them to, and it's going to save me money in training costs. PT department is fully systemized and operating. Staff are being mentored and provided with some form of feedback, at least bi-weekly. And survey responses on client experience trend upward over 2022. So each of those identifies a different area that my new head coach can help improve the business. So again, this one-page vision document is now what I gave to and went through with my ops manager and my new head coach. They both are very clear on what I'm trying to accomplish. And now that they are very clear, I can just get the heck out of the way and let them do their jobs. This took me a little bit to put together and think through, but the time that it's going to save me on the back end is absolutely massive. So that is why I hired a head coach. That is how I thought through the process. And that is how I interact with the new hire early on to make sure that he is clear on his role and that he feels good about being here, getting started on the right foot with clarity. So next time we talk, I'm going to talk through specifically what we're going to do over his first month with us, because that's a little bit different, right? We need to make sure that we start things off on the right foot. So that's the next piece I'm going to talk about, is what we decided to do there. In the meantime, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notifications bell. Make sure you don't miss anything Two Brain is putting out. There is a ton of value that goes out there. I want to see you next time. I don't want you to miss that next video. So make sure you do that stuff. I am Jay Cohen here with Two Brain Business. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.